Okay, everybody, welcome to our podcast, our live session with immigration attorney Yakov Spektor. And the reason why I called Yakov, and I appreciate your time, Yakov. I know we are very busy these days, especially with Ukrainian refugees. That's exactly why I called you, is because, as I understand, new rules came out regarding TPS. TPS is temporary protected status for Ukrainian refugees. And I read in some papers that now up to 60,000 Ukrainians in US will be eligible to participate, which to me is not enough. I just want to do a little preface, a little forward. I don't think it's nearly enough. There are millions of people that are displaced in Ukraine and outside Ukraine, in Poland and surrounding countries. And White House has to do better. Yesterday, I was published in Washington Post newspaper because I wrote a letter in March to the White House, to President Biden, demanding more quotas, demanding more accessibility to US for the Ukrainian refugees. And specifically, from what I understand, only up to 100,000 Ukrainians will be let in, while, as we said, there are millions of refugees. And the requirements are very narrow that you could qualify. And we're going to talk to Yakov Spektor about it. You're going to explain to us exactly what you can do to get in. So this letter that I did was published in Washington Post. I'm very happy about that because that gives exposure to this issue. And this letter is on my Facebook pages, on Instagram, everywhere. So if you guys care about this issue, please do similar letters. With the more pressure we put on the White House, the more hopefully they'll respond. And more importantly, we have to get it in the media. So the more it's in the media, the more there's pressure for President Biden and his administration to respond, to give more protection for Ukrainian refugees who are right now in dire need. Because who are these refugees? This is mostly women and children, because the men have to stay behind and fight. So we have to do whatever we can with our contacts, with our resources, to give light to this issue. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you now Yakov Spektor. Now, you're an immigration attorney, so obviously this is your cup of tea. Please tell us what has changed today as opposed to yesterday with TPS, Special Protection for Ukrainian Refugees.
Thank you, Michael. Actually, this is something that we've been waiting for the government to start moving on for more than a month and a half. They announced that they will start accepting TPS applications in the beginning of March. At that point, they said that basically anybody who would have arrived before March 1st would be eligible. But as of yesterday, they extended that. So now anybody who is here since before April 11th. So it's, April 11th, that's the cutoff. Okay. If you arrived on April 11th, you're still eligible. But if you arrived on April 12th, you are not.
So just to get this straight, I'm going to just do follow-up questions with you. So if you come right now through Mexico, whatever, to America, you're not eligible.
You're not. Would you expect that the government? You're not. The reason for that is that, this program was initially designed to protect the people who are already in the country from returning back if some natural calamity happens. So, the government is just using the tools that it has. It's not really passing any new laws, unfortunately, and your efforts with putting pressure on the media through the media on the government are very helpful in that. But what TPS is a tool that the government had in its arsenal for a while. So that's what they're doing. They're pretty much just designating people who are already here. Okay, we're happy that they expanded it to April 11th. Because in the last month or so, a lot of Ukrainian refugees who truly were running away from this war are going to be able to apply. But of course, the government needs to do more. We're hoping they will expand this program. Definitely, anybody who is here, who arrived before April 11th, should be registering for it, unless there is an easier way for them to get permanent status. Okay, and unfortunately, that does not mean asylum. We're not going to be talking about this today, but let me just tell you that if you are here in the United States, you arrived before April 11th, You don't have a green card. You're a citizen of Ukraine. And you're thinking, well, should I be applying for political asylum or should I be applying for TPS? I would say definitely apply for TPS and talk to someone like me about your chances for political asylum. You have 1 year to apply for political asylum since you arrived here. Okay, but TPS is definitely something that you should be getting on the website, trying to register, trying to apply, get your work permit, get your status registered.
And let me ask you, this status, TPS, what rights does it give you? Can you vote? Can you work? What can you do?
Okay, well, that's a great question, Michael. So one thing that you should know, okay, and by you, Michael, I'm talking to your audience. I'm talking to any Ukrainian refugees who might be here. Okay, definitely don't vote. Definitely don't register to vote. Only US citizens are able to vote. Okay, there are some very limited exceptions, but voting is definitely something that you shouldn't be doing. I'm sure it's not on your mind, but if anybody tells you that they will try to register you to vote, you don't want to do that. Okay,
that could be criminal, actually.
That it could be, right? So unless you're a citizen of the United States, in which case you're probably not watching it. Okay, you should not be voting in the United States.
Okay, what about work? Can you work?
Now, the work permit, that's something that comes with TPS,
okay,
but it's not automatic. You will have to file a separate application for the work permit, okay? Pay the separate filing fee. It definitely makes sense because once you file for your work permit, the government will send you your social security card. So they will assign a social security number to you so that you are able to pay your taxes from any of your employment earnings.
And in your experience, how long does it take to get this permit to work? Because people come here, I mean, look, I know Ukrainians, they're very hardworking people. As any immigrant, we come here to work, to make this a better place for us and for the country. How long does it take usually to get this permit to work?
The government's been very backed up with the work permit applications. People were losing their jobs because it would take them 10, sometimes 11 months, 9 months to get the work permits. Now they're hopefully speeding things up a little bit. Okay, so we are beginning to see that they're processing those work permits sooner. How long it's going to take them to process the TPS work permit is anyone's guess, really, because they're just beginning to accept the applications literally starting today. Okay, even though they're already there is a link to file an online application that's already up. Okay, but there is still no dedicated TPS page on the USCIS website that's dedicated to Ukraine. We're expecting that to be up shortly, but
this is why
we might be waiting for a while.
This is what gets me riled up and upset. Biden makes this amazing announcement. We're going to have TPS for Ukrainians, but it has no meat on the bone. There's very scant details.
I would say
it sounds beautiful.
There's not even bones there. It's more of a ghost of a promise.
See, this is ridiculous. There are people right now that are under bombs, people that are suffering, or people who are refugees, have no place to go. People are going to Mexico and they could fall prey to human traffickers, to the cartel. They have to pay their own way to come here to Mexico. And we're just giving out these beautiful statements, but there's no practical way for people to come here. There's no airlift from Poland, from other countries to America. That's how it should have been done, like with the Afghan refugees. And again, the quota itself, I believe it's 100,000 total, right? It's very, very small. It's a drop on the bottom in the ocean.
And even that number, Michael, it's I hate to say that, but even that number for now, okay, we simply don't know whether that number is going to be something that they will accept in the next few months, or are they just going to basically spread it over the next few years and accept 20,000 refugees a year? We don't have any details. There is no mechanism set in place for that number. It's a promise. At some point, they will probably accept 100,000 refugees. But if you're a refugee waiting to come to the United States at the moment, do not rely on that. That's not something that will probably be available to you
Okay,
anytime
so
soon.
our job as a community, as people who live in America, because we have a voice, we are pretty comfortable here. We have the resources, the contacts. Please share this video. Share the letter I did to Washington Post, to the White House. Do your own letters. Bring awareness to your local politicians that they should put pressure on the federal officials to not only enact a higher quota, but whatever exists now, to actually get to work and make it practical. So a Ukrainian refugee can go smoothly on the website or their attorney and apply and get answers and get papers as soon as possible without having to rely on the cartel to smuggle them through a tunnel in Mexico.
Absolutely. Now, regarding the tunnel in Mexico, okay, there is the government is now accepting applications for something called humanitarian parole at the border from the Ukrainian refugees. What that means is if you're a Ukrainian refugee and you show up at the border, okay, and you tell them, hey, let me in this country. I don't have a visa to come to the United States. You know, I don't have anything that will allow me to come to the United States, but because of the war, allow me to enter. Okay, this is called humanitarian parole. And the government is now accepting applications from the Ukrainian refugees. At the Tijuana border crossing, there is now, from what I hear, a dedicated window that accepts those applications. Now, what that means is that if you get to that window, if you're a Ukrainian refugee in Mexico and you'll get to that window, they'll probably let you in the United States, especially if you have someone here like friends or relatives who, you know, might say that, hey, you know what, we'll house you, we'll provide food, we'll provide room, we'll provide board for you. But one thing to note is that as of last week, okay, the wait time, okay, at that border crossing, okay, for Ukrainian refugees was in excess of 30 hours. I believe, and so you might expect to spend days there at the border.
So you're stuck vulnerable and exposed, women and children,
absolutely,
at a Mexico border,
absolutely,
with coyotes, when I mean human coyotes, and human traffickers roam, where they could extort you, kidnap you, sell you into sexual slavery. You're waiting there for days and days.
Michael, there's always a danger of that. I think it's a small chance, but nevertheless, of course, you're in a strange country. Okay, you don't know how things are going. There's lots of volunteers on the ground who will help you, who will even provide shelter. They set up a shelter in the local local gyms, in local community centers, but you have to be very careful. Yes, this is not something that you want to be doing with small children or with the elderly, even though that sometimes this is something that you have to do. But if you do this, just know that you might be facing a wait of many hours, if not days.
So Yakov, should these people contact you first before they attempt it, just to get more details? Or should they contact you once they're already in America? What do you recommend?
Well, Michael, there is really not much that I can do from this side of the border. Okay, once you are here, okay, once your relatives are here, okay, it might make sense to consult me regarding the next steps. Okay, because if they're here on a humanitarian parole, they might be able to apply for a work permit. Might be. Okay, if they're already here, they might be able to apply for TPS. They might be able to apply for political asylum. All of those things are not something that people should do lightly. Okay, they should definitely consult a good immigration attorney. It could be me, it could be another immigration attorney. You might be prepared to wait a few days until I am able to consult you. But if you're in Mexico waiting to come in at the U.S. border crossing, I will not be of much help. You know, just try to get to the window, apply for humanitarian parole, get in.
So why don't you share your phone number in case somebody wants to contact you once they're here? And I understand you speak Russian as well, so you'll be able to help them if they're willing to speak Russian, which is another issue right now. Also, the reason why we're doing this here on Facebook is because people have friends and relatives in. Say hi to your cat. And the reason we're doing it here is so that friends and families of Ukrainians can get this information, and they can send it over to their friends. So why don't you share your phone number, please?
My phone number is 646-543-0745. Our main office is in New York, but we work with clients all over the United States.
Okay,
As I said, if you need to get in touch with me, call that number, schedule a consultation. But most likely, this will be useful for your relatives once they're already in the United States. Okay, if you want to consult me regarding their options when they're outside of the United States, you could do so too. One thing to note, okay, is if they're in Europe, they're able to apply for something called temporary that's for displaced person status.
Okay.
In Europe.
Okay.
Now, Europeans
I don't know that.
will give people who are in the displaced person status. They will give them the medical insurance. They will give them some sort of financial aid. They will give them a work permit, an opportunity.
So it's like TPS, but it's for European Union.
Europeans, right? And they would apply for it in the country, in the particular European country that they kind of end up in, okay? Because they're able to travel without visas through Europe, okay? And as far as the benefits go, it's a better deal than temporary protected status in the United States, because in the United States they will be able to work, yes, on that status.
You see, Europeans are much more generous when it comes to immigrants. However, I believe America, with such vast resources, vast geography, has the wherewithal to house many more refugees. So
absolutely,
I believe USA has a big responsibility here to do everything we can to accept, accommodate, protect immigrants and refugees from Ukraine.
We should be doing more. We are a land of opportunity. Yes, we will allow you to work here, okay? But I think we should be doing more, especially for the women and children refugees who come here. And I hope we will.
Yakov, just briefly, I want to pick up on something. I had a question. You said that you should have like a sponsor here when you apply for TPS or
no, it's not. No, you don't need a sponsor to apply for TPS at all.
Okay.
What I was talking about is that if you're coming through the border, if there's someone to pick you up, and if there is someone that you could go to, okay, you will be processed. You will probably processed and released faster, okay, because the government knows.
So it's better to have somebody here that can vouch for you, that will give them housing and food. Correct. It's better. Okay.
Correct. But not once, if you're applying for TPS, if you're already here, you do not need a US sponsor. Okay. All you need to show is that you've been, you are here as of April 11th, 2022.
Understood. Okay. Yakov, is there anything else you want to add before I conclude this session?
Michael, thank you for doing the good work.
Thank you.
Let's hope that the government does as much as we are doing for the Ukrainian refugees and for all your relatives. Good luck. I hope that they get here without any particular issues, safe and sound.
Yakov, thank you so much. And I want to also say that next week we're doing a separate session, a seminar for Russian refugees, because of course the first priority should be for Ukrainian refugees. They're actually running away from peril to their lives from bombs. However, let's not forget there are also Russian refugees from Russia who are dissidents, who are against the war, or as they say, special operation, who are speaking out, demonstrating they're losing their jobs. They're also at a risk of getting imprisoned in Russia. So they should also be accommodated. There's not the same degree of protection for them. However, Yakov, you do have some tool in your arsenal, right? For
we will be able to give them some pointers, that's for sure.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I believe we're going to be doing that session in Russian, right, Michael?
Correct. We're doing it in Russian. We're doing it next week. We may, depending on the interest, I think there's going to be great interest, do another one for Russian immigrants in English. So again, their friends and relatives who don't speak Russian that well could share with them. I think this is very useful. If anybody has any questions, comments, please post them in the Facebook posts below, and we're going to try to answer them in the next session, or Yakov Spektor will answer at his free time. Again, Yakov, give your phone number if anybody wants to reach out to you.
If anybody wants to call me, it's 646-543-0745. But do leave the comments under the under this video. Yeah, I'll see if I can get some time. Maybe I'll be able to answer it, and it will be useful for everyone.
Very good. Yakov Spektor, immigration attorney, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.
We hope that all refugees come in here safely and soundly, and we're going to do everything we can to help out. Everybody, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you,
Enjoy
everyone.
the rest of your day.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Bye-bye.